How you doing, guys? SmartEntity here. Welcome to my Specialized Build episode 20 featuring Ash Prime. Now, for those of you guys who have stuck with me since the very beginning, you'll know Ash along with Zypher are two of my most hated Warframes. However, with the change to Bladestorm that actually happened several months ago, I do have to admit Ash is a much better Warframe than what it was once upon a time. So the change, of course, is back in the days when you press number 4, Ash got on a killing spree by itself. Now if you press number 4, Ash got on a killing spree with 2 holographic projections. So it pretty much kills 3 times as fast, and because of that, it's much more useful in your missions such as Exterminate, as well as Invasion missions. Now Bladestorm have one of the highest base damage in Warframe abilities, and that is 2000 damage per target, and of course Bladestorm targets multiple enemies, so it makes killing enemies very fast. So overall modding will be used to optimize Bladestorm. So we use Steel Charge in there to get our extra mod points. As you can see, even with the Forma and the Potato, I've used all my mod points with Steel Charge. Now because Bladestorm doesn't scale infinitely with enemies, or it doesn't scale at all, you don't really want to use Ash in your 60-minute plus survival, 60 wave plus defense, or 12 wave plus interception. And because of that, we're not going to have to worry about things like corrosive projection on there. So as far as modding goes, we'll use Transient Fortitude and Intensify to increase power strength, one from top fleeting as well as Streamline to get that max 75% energy efficiency, Redirection Vitality for survival, Stretch for range, and Prime Flow for energy bank. Now I do use Rush on all my Excellus slots because if you've been playing Warframe as long as I have, and you've been playing literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of missions, you definitely do not want to stay in any particular mission for more than 1 second. More than you have to. So we put Rush on there to get rid of Warframe missions faster. Now, as a quick mention, Ash's other abilities are just simply put not worth using. So Shuriken, it says high damage here, but in truth it's actually pretty basic damage against a single target. Now if you are using a weapon that's been potatoed and that's been formatted quite significantly and it has a max build, it's simply put not worth using Shuriken at all because the weapon will do a better job at it without using any energy. Now Ash's second ability, Smoke Screen, is basically a retarded version of Loki's invisibility, and with a one from top fleeting expertise, it actually has a duration of 1.8 seconds, so we actually won't be using it at all. As far as teleport goes, yes, it can help you get from A to B a bit faster, but since Ash excels at exterminate missions and invasion missions, there really isn't much of a utility or much of an opportunity to use teleport. Alrighty, so without further ado, we'll go into a bit of demonstration. We'll go into a T4 exterminate mission. Now for some reason, void keys are extremely scarce now. I think one of the main reasons is because they have obviously been nerfed from your syndicates, but you just don't really see that many void hostings in recruiting these days. But I will use the T4 XT key for this demonstration. Now try not to use my weapons unless I'm met with a nullifier, because you can't use Warframe ability on those guys. But other than that, I will... okay, not a great start. So our first job is to obviously find a disc cube to get our energy reserve. So I know there's a disc cube on this particular tile set somewhere. Here we go. So once I got a bit disc cube, so for those of you that aren't aware, each disc cube basically nets you 250 energy to a primed Warframe. Obviously other Warframe can benefit if they're in the vicinity, but it does take a primed Warframe to activate that. So as you can see, we are in a T4 EXT facing enemies in the upper 30, so well, 30 for heavy gunner and a bit higher for your basic enemies such as crewmen and whatnot. So against this guy, yeah, level 33. Okay, not as high as I thought, but still. But the point I'm trying to make is I'm still pretty much one-shotting almost all enemies, even in a T4 EXT. So just for demonstration's sake, I can still one-shot these guys with Shuriken because I do have Intensify and Transient Fortitude on there, and these guys aren't that high on level. But of course you can't do that with heavy gunners, and if you are in sortie missions facing enemies, you know, level 80-ish or even 100-ish, then Shuriken just isn't really good enough. And like I was saying before, you got a 1.8 second timer, 1.8 to 1.7, whatever it is, timer on Spark Screen with one from top fleet expertise, so not really worth mentioning. Teleport basically brings you closer to an enemy. Unfortunately, it doesn't bring you closer to an object, which will be actually a bit more useful as traveling. It does bring you a bit closer to an enemy, but I mean, if you're going to use Blaze Storm anyway, who cares, right?
Look at them. They come to this place when they know they are not secure.
Okay, I do admit I didn't really take into consideration of war. So we'll do a bit of Blaze Storming here and there, and depending on time, we may or may not fight War.
Of this day did I not prophesize this moment? It is time. I will teach these trespassers the redemptive power of my Yanis feet. They will learn its simple truth. We cannot blame these creatures. They are being led.
So obviously Blaze Storm can be used on War, not that effectively, but it does work. So pretty happy about that. And I've lost a guy, and Needle of Fire.
The void called to me. It brought me here, and here I was reborn.
So yes, you can see even with heavy gunners and bombards, Blaze Storm does a pretty good job. Now it is worth mentioning, you know, this is great for solo or if you're in a random squad, but if you are in an organized team, then there are much faster or better ways via Warframe combo. So for example, if you have a Siren, you got a Volt, and you got a Trinity, you can EV for speed as well as Masma, and that does kill a lot faster, I'm not gonna lie. That awkward moment. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of people do like Blaze Storm is you can kill a lot of enemies without actually having to aim. Now, Warframe is a great game, but there's a lot of grinding and there's a lot of repetition, and sometimes you just can't be bothered, you know, aiming every enemy down. If you press Warframe, you aim for one enemy, and pretty much every other enemy within the room dies. And that's one of the other reasons why back in the days we really like things like Penta. It's AOE, you don't have to aim, and obviously something like Silver Prime where you do have to aim, but because you got so much or so many bullets in there, you don't really have to and you can just spray bullets. Obviously I had to scratch myself, and as a result you die to laser. That's alright. Just grab some energy. Okay, there's no disc cube. Alrighty, so that's pretty much it. A pretty simple mission. Now I do have to say, because of Ash and Ash Prime, I do have to take it off the hated list, so Zypher is pretty much going to be there by itself for now. Now by no means is Ash a top tier Warframe, just because none of his abilities actually scale. Now, to be a top tier Warframe, you do need to have a scalable ability, so something like Snow Glow for defense or Shield Polarize for offense. But other than that, Ash is definitely a frame that's worth having. It definitely has its uses, it's definitely good.
Excellent work, Tenno.
Not gonna lie, I was hoping for Victor's prime receiver there, but that's alright. Alrighty, so just to put things into perspective, I'm gonna show you guys my final famous rating. So for low level speed Q, I'm gonna give it a 7 because at the end of the day, World on Fire is still better. For high level utility, okay, we'll give it a 7 as well because it does do pretty high. So, you know, for your sortie missions, it's still pretty good, but it's not gonna get a 10 because it doesn't scale. It's good for high level, it's just not good for very high level. So once you actually do go to, you know, the massively 60-minute plus, so once you go over 80-minute plus, then it's definitely not going to be any use. And yeah, 50 wave maybe it's okay, but after 60 wave plus is just not good enough. Farming utility, I mean, depending on how you want to go, it doesn't have Desecrate, it doesn't have Pilfering Swarm. But if your mission is to get rid of an exterminate mission fast, then it's okay, so we'll give it a 3. Speedrun is not good, right? It got teleport, but other than that, speedrun is just not good. We'll give it a 3. Now, subjective factor. Because I know innate and subconsciously I do not like Ash, I don't want to give it a lower score than it deserves, so I forced myself to give it a 5, so halfway between, 0 and 10, just to remove that subjective factor for this particular rating. So overall, a score of 5, so pretty decent. Alright guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.